Right, so the Euros are upon us. The first game is Turkey v Italy. That is, I believe, in Rome, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Just a few things first. Italy's won this fixture 8 times, have never lost. Never lost. They've drawn it 3 times against Turkey. I hadn't realised this, and you might have known this, and this has made me kind of think bigger picture. Italy have not lost a game in 23 games. The last time they lost a game was against Portugal in the Nations League in 2018. So they're in a bit of a hot run going into this game. But they are actually up against a tough Turkey side who seems to be a bit hard to break down. I think there's a few familiar faces in that. I think that the first game of any tournament is pretty tough. It's usually not a lot of action. And I don't know if Italy historically haven't really been a team that breaks down a lot of people. I think that this might be a bit of a boring game. I do have probably Italy eking ahead of Turkey, but trying to do some research for Turkey, I wouldn't say they were like a dark horse to win the Euros, but I think they'll certainly be a tough out for a lot of teams. And it's probably made for a little 1-0 draw, 1-0 for Italy. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Oh, actually, I've just got a couple other stats. Can I just give you that real quick? So I put in Turkey versus Italy just on the internet, just in Google. Did you know that Italy has 2.11 times more forests than Turkey? And that they have a longer life expectancy at birth of 7.1 years.
This is what the people log in to hear.
This is what the people want. This is what the people ask for.
They have a GDP per capita of 32,491. But Turkey has more education expenditure at 4.88% more, and a lower death rate at 42.86%. So Turkey win 84 points to 81 on the comparison website versus.com. So who do you think is going to win this game?
Who do you want to go first?
I'll give it to Danny Boy.
So I would say 3 words about Turkey. Don't underestimate Turkey. They are a really excellent team. They are, and probably nobody realises or nobody even remembers, they're currently top of their World Cup group, the group which includes Netherlands, it includes Haaland's Norway. And they're a really decent team. They beat France to get through to these Euros. In fact, they beat them 2-0, they drew with them. The only game they actually lost in the entire thing was against Iceland, some stupid 1-0 which they messed up at. Otherwise, they would have topped their group. They've got 3 players who just won the French league, 3 brilliant French stars, Ziyech, and then they capped it. They've got Yazizi, they've got, what's the other guy's name I'm thinking of?
Brett Yilmaz.
Yilmaz, that's the one, the ancient man.
Great player.
I mean, and Ziyech at right back, you're now talking about Arsenal, Man United battling to sign him this summer. He's an excellent right back, and I think he'll go somewhere big. They'll have to sell all their players. So you add, the French champions to a bunch of Premiership experience. They got Sionchu, they got Kengisunda from Leicester. Obviously, everyone knows Kabak from Liverpool now. I got Demirel from Juventus.
Wouldn't it be beating up Kabak?
Well, they've got some real good talent, and I think there's one that made the squad that I think is really interesting that a lot of people won't know or probably seen much is Dervisoglu, and he plays for Brentford. And he's going to be in the Premiership.
No, big fan. I'm a big fan of his. Big fan.
Well, he's a young kid. He's just turned 21, but he actually went on loan last year to Turkey to make sure he got game time because he wanted to make his squad. But he's a really good player, really good young player, and I think we're going to see him in the Premiership next year for Brentford, and that'll be really interesting. But you put all of that together, and they've got real strength and depth at the back, and I haven't even mentioned basically their best player in Hakim.
Yeah, Calhanoglu. I'm surprised you hadn't mentioned him yet.
He's probably. Well, first half of the season, he was the most creative, best midfielder in Serie A. If he replicated that again in the second half, he'd have been right up there, one of the players of the season. He was absolutely brilliant. I think he got 9 assists and I'm not sure how many goals.
Who did he play for?
For AC Milan.
AC Milan. He could certainly strike a dead ball as well. If you think certain players in the Premier League can strike a dead ball, Calhanoglu is an unbelievable striker of a dead ball.
This is the squad that's the second youngest in the tournament. At just under 25 years old. I think Turkey are going to surprise a lot of people. And I think that Italy are a great side, and I'm sure Royce can go on to tell us how great Italy are. And they are, and I really like them. I think they've got a good chance in this tournament. But I think they're going to get a real shock when they play this Turkey team because they're really decent.
They're the second youngest, but probably look the oldest out of the lot with him.
Yeah. I mean, he's about 43, isn't he?
Yeah.
Go on, Rory. I know you were excited about this one, innit?
I am so excited about this game. I'm so excited that I finally feel like we've got football back. I love international tournaments, as we all do anyway. I think this is a great game to open it. And also, like, as Danny was speaking there, I can't be the only one who was thinking, do you know what? I might have a little tenner on Turkey, as a little outside bet. I think he really, really sold that well. He's obviously done his research and he knows a lot more than I do about some of them, but we all know about Çalhanoğlu. We all know about Burak Yilmaz, who seems to have been around for about 10 years. He seems to have been in his 30s for about 10 years.
Well, he's 38, so you're pretty spot on, I think.
Yeah. And I think you sold it really well. But I'm now going to jump on the Italy hype train. Now, I think that usually in every tournament, there's one team that jumps out from the pack. And by that, I don't mean the Belgiums or the Frances, who are obviously the standout teams as well as England. But there's always a team that comes from that pack just behind that jumps out. And looking at the squad and looking at what you touched on earlier, Chris, that Italy have not lost a game since 2018. I can't think of a better team to potentially jump out of the pack and shock the world, or at least shock Europe this summer. So I'm going to start with the two centre-backs. Now, you will not find a two more legendary pair of centre-backs in this whole tournament than Chiellini and Bonucci. They do have a combined
age of 157.
They do have a combined age of over 70. What I will say is a lot of it depends on how they're going to do when they come up against real pace. Because if they come up against a Kane or a Lewandowski, I would bank on their experience to be able to do as good a job as anybody else in the tournament against a Kane or against a Lewandowski. What I worry about is if they come up against a striker that likes to run in behind and they haven't got enough pace around them.
Does Turkey have that against them?
No, Turkey don't have that.
No, Turkey don't. I'm more talking about deeper in the tournament. Also, Spinazzola, the left back for Roma, is a real pace merchant. So I'm hoping if he doesn't fly forward as much as he usually does for Roma, then he could maybe provide a bit of pace around Chiellini and Bonucci. Their midfield is where they get really, really interesting. So they have Jorginho, who we all know from Chelsea, whether you like him or not. He's clearly an excellent passer and he's a great player at setting the tempo of a game. And he can do that in any level. He showed it at Napoli, he showed it internationally, and he showed it for Chelsea as well. They're going to pair him with Marco Verratti, who we all know about. The guy's now, he's got to be mid-20s now. He's been a sort of a top 10 midfielder in the world, I think, for getting on for probably 6 or 7 years now. Will slot lovely into that midfield. And then Nicolo Barella, who some people might not be aware of. He's a box-to-box midfielder. He's strong in the tackle. He gets goals. He arrives late in the box, a little bit of a Frank Lampard in that way. But he can also do his fair share defensively. And he's just won the league with Inter, and he's got absolutely rave reviews. On top of that, they have Locatelli from Sassuolo and Stefano Sensi, who also plays for Inter.
I'm pretty sure Sensi's injured. He's always injured.
No, so Sensi, this is an interesting one. Politano, who plays for Napoli, has just been dropped out of the squad in favour of Sensi. But Sensi actually did his hamstring.
Of course he did. He gets injured, getting repaired from injury.
He did his hamstring in the last game of the season, and the rumours in Italy are that he's not going to be fit. But they've taken him anyway.
He's been out injured for 2 years. What are they doing taking him?
They've taken him at the expense of Politano, which has upset a few people in Naples, as you can imagine. So getting onto the front three, Insigne is going to play to the left and Berardi is going to play to the right. These are two stalwarts of Italian football. They're always popping up with goals. They're both of them are set piece threats. What I will say is they do lack a little bit of pace for wide players. They're more immobile. Pardon?
Very good.
Very here good. We go. He's stolen my big punchline. He's stolen my. And up front will be the timeless Ciro Immobile. What I'll say about Immobile is a lot of people that watch him regularly still don't rate him. He's not exactly the most easy on the eye. He didn't do great when he got his initial big move to Dortmund. He kind of has gone down as a bit of a Bundesliga flop.
Yeah.
He's now gone back to Lazio and he's banging in goals left, right, and centre, and has been doing so for the best part of 2 or 3 years now. What I will say is there's always a player that comes out of nowhere and smashes in about 7 goals in a tournament. Like usually it's Thomas Müller, but I remember Miroslav Klose did it for years for Germany. You know, like he scored 4 goals all season for Bayern Munich, and then turn up at a World Cup and win the Golden Boot.
You mean like Milan Baros? Like Milan Baros
in Euro 2004. Yeah. How much would it actually surprise you if Immobile turns up against someone like Wales, bangs in 3 goals, and ends up taking home a Golden Boot? And that is why I have put my money where my mouth is. Not only have I backed Italy to win the tournament, I've backed Immobile top scorer. I think this game's going to be brilliant. I think it's going to be absolutely fascinating.
Go on.
I think it could genuinely be one of the games of the tournament. And
the last two games between Italy and Turkey have both finished 1-1. So historically, or at least in recent history, it hasn't really been the exciting game that you're looking for.
But
so,
when was the last time they played?
I think you're getting a little bit overexcited about the whole football side. Look, Italy are a great side. I was just looking; they've got 8 clean sheets in a row in their last 8 games. Like Turkey are going to have to go some to even score a goal.
I think
Turkey defensively are very strong. So I don't see it being, tons of goals. I think this will be a tactical thing. You've got Roberto Mancini. The man knows how to keep clean sheets. The man knows how to pass the ball around. That is why Italy are like what they are. I think
how many opening games of a tournament do you see that are just like barnstormers? I don't know if there's so much pressure and stuff like that. It never happens.
You don't. Who remembers the Mexico-South Africa one in 2010? One of the worst games of football I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And I booked
it. I think
Germany, Poland, was it, or one of those?
Germany, Costa Rica. They won 4. Philip Lahm scored from about 40
Philip Lahm, absolute cracker.
Anyway, we've been told not to go off subject. So should we do predictions?
Very good. I know this is our first one, but let's try and keep it reasonable. All right. So, Rory, I'm just going to assume your prediction was what, 6-0 to Italy? Was that right?
No. So I think the form book's going to go out the window, and I think Italy are going to win 3-1. I think it's going to be not an open game, but I think players at both ends will be clinical. And I think it'll be a tactical battle that Italy will edge. So I'm going to go Italy 3-1.
Danny, what do you got?
I think Italy will underestimate Turkey. I'm going 1-1.
I also want to go 1-1. Can I do that? Can we both do the same?
Yeah.
I might even put a little bet on it at 6-1. I think at the moment for a draw, or at least a correct score rather. Yeah, but hopefully it's a good one. I'm looking forward to just the Euros, like you said, Rory. We all have a big tournament. And the weird thing with Italy, though, is that they've never really they seem to turn up at World Cups, but when it comes to the Euros, they don't really turn up as much.
They won one of the early Euros in the 1960s. They won, but I think the closest they've got since then.
Can I give a shout out to Italy, because I think when it comes to announcements of squads, I have to say I think other than Tunisia, I think they've absolutely nailed it. Did you see the clip? There's Insigne and Donnarumma, and one of them, they're singing they're singing with a guitar, like announcing the squad on stage in front of it. It's absolutely hilarious. You've got to Google it. It's brilliant. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I'm going to Google it.
Yeah. All right. Lovely. So let's enjoy this first game and enjoy the rest of the tournament. We'll see you next time. Bye.